Okay, first up, we have her. What's your name?
My name is Jade. I have a heart.
Okay, Jade, hello. How old are you?
Hello, I'm 21 years old.
21, okay. And what's your ethnicity?
I am Black, Dutch, and Native American.
That is fantastic. Hi, Asia. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
How old are you?
23.
And what is your nationality or ethnicity?
African American.
African American. Here we go. Okay. Hi, thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Renelle Pearson, but you can call me Ronnie.
And how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
And what's your ethnicity?
I am biracial, so I'm half black, half white.
How are Black women usually represented through the media?
I think Black people are represented as white people see us. So white people have a lot of influence in the media. Black people are obviously growing, but your standard stuff are usually seen through those type of eyes. And I feel like we're basically the stereotype. So we're either the loud ghetto one, or we're just like that Black friend that has to be in the show so that it looks cultural. But I feel like we don't really get represented the way as just a normal person. You know what I'm saying? We get represented as a group, and I don't think that's right.
I feel like usually they're represented as like ghetto, or not as significant as other races.
I think usually Black women are kind of portrayed with this specific idea of what a Black woman should be, and that idea is not always true to what Black women truly are. I think depending on what you're watching, you can either see Black women be portrayed as this kind of angry character, which isn't true, and that's such a stereotype that's placed on Black women, but also kind of see them as somebody lesser in society, which should not be kind of represented in that way. They're kind of shown stereotypically more than actuality.
Do you feel that this misrepresentation has challenged the way you view yourself?
Definitely. I feel like you have to be, like being a Black woman, I feel like I have to be in a category of one of those Black people. So am I like the loud ghetto one? Am I the funny Black friend to be around? Like, I feel like it's less of who are you as Jade and more of who are you in the Black community, which is just messed up. We should be able to be who we want to be.
Definitely, because I didn't grow up in like a ghetto neighborhood or anything like that. I grew up in an area where I didn't fit in. I grew up feeling like I wasn't proper enough. So I think that just the view of like how we were portrayed in the media didn't fit who I was. So it left me very like confused and lost. And people expected me to be a certain way just because I was Black.
Yeah. I think that, well, specifically sometimes when it comes to representation of Black women, there is either one specific way or none. When I was a young kid growing up, I didn't really see anybody that looked like me. If they did, they were kind of Black women who in TV shows were kind of shunned for having natural hair, so that they didn't really kind of have the type of hair type I had, and they didn't have a lot of dynamic characters. Like, the whole character didn't have a personality. If it did, it was a stereotyped personality. And so watching that when I was a kid kind of affected me personally, because it was like, okay, I have to fit into this box and in this way because there's nobody like me that I see. So I think definitely it has affected me. Like, growing up, it affected how I felt about like my hair and how I felt about expressing the fact that I am like somebody who is in the Black community and expressing like my heritage and my culture, and how difficult that is as well.
How can Black women be represented the right way?
It's going to take a cultural change. I don't think it's going to take people viewing us a different way, and that goes way beyond media. That goes in just regular living. We can't even live a proper way without being stereotyped or having certain stigmas on our back. We can't walk down the street without X, Y, or Z happening. So for us to be viewed in media a proper way, there's going to have to be a cultural change of how we view just ethnicities in general, not even just Black people, not even just white people, not just Asian, like who we are as people and not what we were made up of or where our ancestors came from.
I just think most of us actually are very influential and powerful, and successful, and I think that isn't celebrated enough in the media. I think that, what's celebrated is a different view of us than what should be celebrated. But that's how it can change, by celebrating and putting on blast the women, which most of the women I know, all of them that are Black, are powerful, strong, successful women, independent women. So I think that portraying that would change the way that's viewed.
I feel like if you're going to represent anybody, no matter what group they're in, like who they are, represent them dynamically. I feel like when people, write characters, especially when specific like white writers write Black characters, they don't really understand the fact that they're a person first, and the fact that they're Black comes after, which is true in society. And the fact that somebody looks at a Black woman and says, "Oh, she's a Black woman," before they say she's a woman. Like, if you don't show a character's true inhibitions and who they are and their individuality, like regardless of how they identify or what community they're in, you don't have a character. And I feel like writing characters like that and writing Black female characters who are like that is the best thing to do.
Do you think that this change in representation will lead to positive change?
I think, it's a pay it forward type aspect on looking at it. Some people say one person can't change everything. So you could be that one person making that change, and people can either see you or not. But I feel like try to do it, because it can change somebody. It might not change a whole movement, and it might not be in this generation that everything is fixed. But the more people that talk about it and the more people that open their mouth, the more things have a chance to change.
I do, because it gives younger girls like me, who are maybe grow up and don't have role models around them, or things, people to look up to aspire to be around them because of their environment. They can look at that in the media and see what they can live up to, because it'll be apparent. It'll be just as broad as the generic girls that are usually on TV and in social media and things like that. Being powerful and Black and natural hair and everything that's great about us will be portrayed as something that can be a role model as well.
Yes. Often more than not, the media controls the narrative of individuals. It always has. It controls how we perceive different people, especially from different backgrounds. That, like, let's say somebody who lives in like Kansas, who does not live around like Black people, has like no kids in their school that are Black, and they see this character on TV. If it's a negatively portrayed character, that's how they view that person. And I feel like media doesn't realize the power it has in projecting and creating characters that reflect real life, and creating dynamic characters and characters who have well-developed personalities and are who they truly are and are a part of these communities. On top of that, will help that.
Do you have any other comments or thoughts or concerns on this topic?
I think that, again, like projects like this and people talking about it and it becoming a social issue and a social thing that people are even seeing as a problem now is a big step from where we were 30 to 40 years ago, where Black people couldn't be on TV or couldn't have certain roles in certain things. So I think that's a great thing. At the same time, I think it's something that just needs to be talked about more, and it needs to be put in our face, because I want it to stop being like, when you think of a Black girl, and that's what we are. We're the big afros, we're the darker skin, we're all that, but we're also just people. That's just the way we were made. Yeah, we were made Black, you were made white, but it shouldn't change the way you look at me in any type of social aspect. I feel like Black people have a lot of stigmas, or what are those called? Stereotypes that come with them, and it's becoming redundant now. We just need to be seen as individuals. So yeah.
I mean, I just think this is a great topic. It's great to shine light on it, because for so long we've been looked at as like the bottom of the totem pole, and it's just so untrue. We're definitely the most powerful out there, not to sound pro-Black, but like, we're definitely the most powerful, strong, just independent, beautiful women. So I'm glad you're talking about this topic, because it's good to shine light on how great we actually are.
For anybody who is trying to go into media, or anybody who watches media, I would always say that something to look at is to take everything with a grain of salt. So take a step back and look at what you're watching before you comment on it or make assumptions about another individual.